Welcome to this session. This is a very important session for us in a series of such sessions that we are having with the consulting community of DPDPA in India. I'll just, the introduction would not be complete till I also introduce two more people who will be participating in this webinar. One is Shashank. Shashank is our product owner for the Vishwas AI. And we also have today the CTO, our Chief Technology Officer, Pramod, who has been, he's considered again to be one of the stalwarts in the area of identity and access management. So let me just go to a quick introduction on our product. Next slide, please. So you may not have, in your domain, you may not have heard our name before. We come from a company called Cross Identity. That is the holding company of Vishwas AI. We have 25 plus years of experience in identity and access management, which is considered to be pivotal domain for the cybersecurity area. And we are a Make in India company, 100% Make in India, but our clientele is all over the world when it comes to identity and access management. We have been recognized as leaders by Kapinger Cole, which is the number one analyst in the identity and access management space. We are known for developing single code-based architectures and combining a lot of things that other companies and other technologies do in multiple modules. We do it in one module. That is our specialty, what we call convergence. We have globally more than 200 enterprise. When I say enterprise, these are very large customers, which includes US, good parts of Europe, as well as in India. So we are pretty well known in the area of cybersecurity. Now, why did we decide to come out with something on in this area? The reason is very simple for us, because one of the modules that we deal with is called Consumer Identity and Access Management, which deals with the privacy regulations for the consumers in the world, IT consumers. And when you look at the privacy compliances like GDPR or the DPDPA, they are also primarily meant for the consumers. That overlap makes it much easier for a vendor like us, a specialist like us, coming from the consumer identity and access management space to build a platform on that for the DPDPA, or for that matter, any privacy compliance. So that was the reason we came into this. The couple of other points I'd like to make before I start getting into the product and so on, and that would be done by Shashank and will be supported by Pramod. We have been in making of this tool for about 2 years now. We decided to do a little different approach, and we went and tied up with the with the National Institute of Smart Governance and ISG, which, as you know, is a part of MIT and has been quite involved in the making of DPDPA regulations itself. So this tool was developed with the strong advice of NISG and has also been ratified by NISG, tested by NISG at different points. It also has the support of NISG in terms of especially taking it to very large government customers. As we talk, we are talking, we're in the final stages of some very, very large regulations that are going to be in the implementation stage with some of the state governments. One of them has got more than 1.6 crore identities and so on. So while we may not be very well known in this particular area, but we have been working with organizations such as NISG for the development of the tool itself. And as I said, our main, the area in which we excel is the convergence. And here also you will find, as you will go through the product, that while many other products that we have seen in the market require multiple tools, like, for example, one for doing discovery, one for some security and stuff like that. In our case, it's just one single tool that is good enough. As we get a little deeper dive into the product, you'll be able to see that. Next slide, please. So I don't need to, this is a slide that we have to put as a customary slide, but all of you in this call happen to be the experts in DPDPA yourself, so I don't have to really preach to the choir. So I'll move on to the next slide. We all know this, that this is from our experience of 25 years in business. We know that this perhaps is the single largest opportunity for consultants like yourself, because this is something which is mandated by the government and has to be implemented in a certain deadline. And the deadline is pretty short. That being so, the total size of this opportunity, if we look at it from that angle, is huge. The total number of organizations that have to comply with DPDPA of all types, the light and the heavy ones, the small and the mid-size and the large ones, is almost in the range of 30,000 plus. So I don't have to again talk to you about it because you know better. You have been in this space. You're a much bigger expert than us when it comes to the domain knowledge. And in fact, in the first place, that's why we are having this conversation, because we would like to work together with you to make it a success for all of us. Next. Now, this tool has got some specialities. And from here, I would hand it over to our experts to really talk about it. So go ahead, Shashank.
Yes, Binod. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, guys. Good afternoon. So, like Binod was saying, there are a few specialities of the tool. As you see here, this is India's only cryptographically non-repudiated DPDP compliance platform, in the sense that any consent that has been provided by the consumer will be stored in the backend with a certain logic, a mathematical logic, which will be generated using a certain algorithm. And every other change that will subsequently happen for the same consent will also have the same logic, which will generate a new hash chain. And every time this hash chain is modified, it will be checked against the previous one. And this way, we are maintaining the sanity, and we are the only ones who can basically provide us non-repudiated, actual non-repudiated DPDP compliance. And we basically complete. We have the complete coverage. We span across all the DPDP modules that are present, and we have almost 225 plus features that cover through all the modules. It can be consent management, notices, purpose, granular consent management, vendor management, and so on. And as Binod already mentioned, we are India native, and obviously we have the obligated or mandated 22 language support as well. Now,
Maybe I can take this slide,
yeah.
because this is where we go to what we call DPDPA, all about DPDPA.com, which is while this product is a part of cross identity, we are keeping this domain a little different because of obvious reasons. This is not cybersecurity. While we use a lot of our cybersecurity knowledge here in this product, we have uh, kept it separate, same company, but a separate domain, because of the people who are interested in this need not necessarily be from the cybersecurity domain. So here I would like to introduce you to, if you already don't know, in fact, this is becoming already very popular, all about dpdpa.com. This is essentially a dedicated knowledge resource where beyond our platform, we are also talking about a lot of other things. Some of the things which are very popular here is our penalty calculator, where customers just by doing a few settings, they can see as to what kind of exposure on penalties they have based on the current preparedness that they have. So it has a lot of those kinds of things. It also gives the live updates on DPBI, which is very, very critical. We all know that we are still having many things happening. Recent one is the case that was filed in the Supreme Court where hearing is going on. So when you go to this site, you'll be able to see everything that is happening on DPDP. Plus, you would also be able to do a lot of interesting things. So let's go from here. Somebody would you like to? We'll jump to that portal. This is the portal that we are talking about a purpose-built DPDPA compliance infrastructure that we have created. What you see out here is some of the screenshots of our product, but you'll be seeing it much more in detail in today's session. As Shashank said, essentially the product has got 15 compliance modules, 225 product features, and it's as mandated by DPA regulations. It's available in 23 languages. Out here, you could do a number of things. We could do the platform walkthrough from here. You could download the feature list, and you could also do a number of other things. But can you just go down, please? Go. Just a little more about the product. Go down. As I was saying, that this is one platform where you don't need anything beyond this. Everything is a part of it, including the initial discovery and so on and so forth. Okay, going back up, I'll take you to a few of the tabs. So this is where you can download this feature list yourself. In fact, we are making things very, very open, and we'll tell you something very interesting towards the end of the session. We have an announcement to make towards the openness that I'm talking about. So this, which you can download, as you can see, we'll just give you a quick preview of this. It uses more than 95 RESTful APIs, and this is where the complete feature list by module begins. So module 1 is about multi-tenancy and tenant management. When you are implementing this, little slow, please. When you're implementing it, you would need that module to be understood. And the second module is on the authentication and identity and access management. This is something which we see being ignored in many of the tools. Can become a major issue because this is a platform where if the security is not good enough, there could be a lot of compromises that could happen, and that could get the customers into another major set of issues. So certainly our platform, coming from the kind of security and expertise that we have and the products that we have, parts of that technology we have used here as well, it makes it easy for us to make it highly secure and manage the identities and the access to this portal very, very secure. As you can see, there are a lot of things in over here. Let's move on to the next. With that, we come to the third module, which is about the consumer data unification and identity resolution. I'm not stopping at any of these because In a few minutes, we are going to take you through the demonstration of slide-based demonstration, because a full demo of DPDPA tool is going to take several hours. It's a fairly comprehensive tool that you will see in the market, perhaps more comprehensive than anything else that you see, including some of the tools that have been imported from outside and are fairly detailed. The only problem we find with those tools is that they were never meant for DPDPA. So they're doing a lot of fixing for DPDPA, and it was not really initially designed for DPDPA. This tool from ground up has been designed for DPDPA. So that's the third module. The fourth module is on the consent management, which is the perhaps everybody is talking about that. Everybody asks for that. There are products in the market you would have seen which provide 95% of the functionality of the product is only consent lifecycle management. We are very, very good in that. We'll talk about it as we go forward. So that's the fourth module. The fifth module is the privacy notice management, again, one of the mandatory requirements. What we have done is on the right side, you'll see the DPDP reference section number, rule number also, so that there's an easy mapping that you will have with the various features. Moving forward to module 6, this is about the data principles self-service portal. Now, this is obviously a very, very important mandatory requirement. And when you go into this, you will find that this is one of the easiest service portal that is available. Let us not forget one thing, that in India, you've got large number of people who are not very familiar with with IT and IT portals. So it's important really to make it in a way that it's easy for them to use. It's one thing to implement. It's another thing for people to use. And we have in our tool taken absolute care to see that it's a very easily usable tool by the data principal. In fact, while working with some government, what they have requested us is that some people who may be using this tool may not have any knowledge, may not be able to read and write, and how would they really use it? So we are in the process of building, an AI-based tool which will make it possible for people to use it based on voice. So the system will recognize even the dialects. Like, for example, in Bihar, you've got 3 dialects that are spoken, and it will recognize, the tool will recognize the voice from the voice as to which dialect it's being spoken in, and would be able to make it easy for the data principals to use the tool, even though they do not know much of reading and writing. So that's in the next version of the tool coming up. The 7th module is on the data principal rights. Again, you all know this is a very, very critical area. The full workflow engine for managing data principal rights is and requests, access, correction, erasure, nomination, grievance, and portability, all that is available here. The SLA tracking is automatically done. We'll show you the screenshots of this in the next round of presentation. Next. Then we move on to the 8th, which is the breach management. Again, very important, where the incident intake, the assessing the risk in an automatically, DPBI notification workflow, all those things are already set up here. Mass data principal alerts and the post-incident reporting. These are all mandatory, as we know. They are all taken care of in this module. Moving to the next ninth module. This is on the data protection impact assessment. Again, this is an important area to be dealing with the assessment. Here you have the guided assessment workflows available, which does the calculation of risk automatically, does the mitigation planning, and the DPO approval chains are created over here. Next. The 10th module is on vendor and data processor management, which is obviously about the onboarding and assessing and continuously monitoring the third-party data processors. The 11th module is on data inventory, discovery, and retention. Equally important, we have seen that in many of the other tools, this particular module has not been really addressed and very well. But here the automation of the personal data discovery, classification, data flow mapping, all those things are done. In fact, this area is uncovered in many of the tools. And just for this, you have to bring in one more tool. In our case, as I said in the beginning, there are no multiple tools that you have to really use for the customer, or the customer doesn't have to use multiple tools. 12th module on compliance dashboard and reporting. This again becomes very important from the success of the implementation and running of the tool. How good is the dashboard? So as you can see here, you got stuff like the breach metrics, you got the risk heat map, real-time activity feed, vendor risk summary. All those things are covered in this module. The next 13th module is the cookie consent management. Now, this is something that we haven't really seen in, we've hardly seen in any tool. This is something which is important. When you implement it, it'll be important for you as well. So rather than it not being there and doing it in a piecemeal basis, we have included that as a full module of the tool itself. Next. The 14th module is on the notifications, events, and the webhooks that it provides. So as you download, you'll be able to see the details, and we would be talking about this more in the next session. Training and awareness is equally important. Just having a tool is not enough. And so we have an e-learning library inside the tool itself. And right up to certificate generation is taken care of in this module for the people who get trained and awareness and those who develop awareness. So this is, these are the 15 modules of the tool, gives you a feature count and the categories. So from here, we will now quickly move to the next part. We will not go into too much of detail because we don't have so much of time in this webinar, because we have some very important announcements to make as well. But if you, guys, if you could just go to the, yeah. So we'll show a few of these. We'll spend about 6-7 minutes, and then we will make we have some very major announcements to make. Go ahead, Shashank. Shashank?
Yeah, right here. So a little network problem. Yeah. So starting with the dashboard, here you will be able to see every detail that there is within the application, starting with the consent coverage and the DPI requests, active breaches, pending DPIAs, the trends of consent collection, the DPI request by types, and so on. So this, although is not a direct cater to the DPDP modules, but is also one of the requirements. So this is what it is, the dashboard. Basically, the first screen that any admin would see, a DPO or an IT admin, privacy manager, whoever it is, this is what they will be seeing as the login. And this displays, like I said, the overall compliance score and the total penalty, key metric cards like consent coverage, DPR requests, the live activity feed of compliance events, and more. Then you have the consents. Basically, this is the consent ledger, wherein you will be seeing the entire consent history that that has happened within the application. Every data principles consent that has been either provided or withdrawn will be monitored and will be stored in real time. And right. So this is what it is basically. You can search for the data principal by their name or their customer ID or their email, and you can see if they have granted or withdrawn a purpose through which channel, whether was it by a web API, and the date and language also. And with that, you can also be like we saw in the earlier slide, there was this non-repudiated data. So within consent ledger, for each consent, you will be able to see the hash chain whether the consent that we are seeing is actually valid or not. Then you have purpose catalog, wherein you can create as many purposes as you want. Basically, purpose would be the granular consent that the data principal would be acting upon, whether they would want to provide their consent or not. And this will be mapped to a campaign, basically a workflow for the admins or the DPOs to keep a track about which campaign is running and which purpose and which notice is associated with that particular campaign. Then this is notices, wherein you can create privacy notices and you can send out these notices. As per DPDP's mandate, we must send out notices before prior to collecting consent from the data principals. So this feature caters to that particular requirement, wherein you can create notices. You can select what should be displayed in all the 22 languages, and you can also target this to a particular data principal segment of data principals. And once these notices are sent out to the users, by the way, before sending out the notices, there will be an approval flow wherein the legal manager would be approving, and then the DPO would be approving the notice. Only then will it get published. After it is published, the data principal will be able to acknowledge the notice. And although it is not a DPDP's mandate, we are doing that for convenience, wherein we will know that the data principal has actually seen the notice and acknowledged the notice. And this is the campaign wherein you can basically associate the notice and purposes within one consent campaign. You can again target a segment of data principals and you can send out these basically this. You can start this campaign and the data principals would be acting upon this by providing their consent. And post providing their consent, they will also be able to withdraw their consent if necessary. And in both the cases, they will be seeing a message which will very clearly tell them what is the effect of providing the consent and what would be the repercussion of withdrawing the consent. Then what you see here is the DPR request or the data subject rights as per DPDP, wherein the data subject is supposed to have certain rights of their own, like erasure of data, deletion, updation, viewing of the data, access to their data, and so on. And these requests will be seen in here by the rightful person. It could be the privacy manager or the legal manager, IT admin, whoever it is. You can basically have them see this and they would be assigning this ticket. We can call it a support ticket for that matter, to have a simple understanding. This would be assigned to the rightful person, and upon any update that is gained, that exact person can then provide this information. Yeah. Then you have breaches, wherein you can basically report an incident of any breach that has occurred. It could be any privacy breach or phishing attacks. This particular breach incident would be reported to the DPPI and the DPO as well. And then, as and when the updates are available, you can send out email triggers. Basically, you can notify the data principals as well about what has happened and how it has been mitigated. Then you have the impact assessments or the data protection impact assessment, wherein there are standard templates, or you can choose, you can create your own templates for the DPIA, which is the assessment. And this assessment and the mitigation for that particular impact would be again assessed and approved by the DPO, post which the necessary measures can be taken. Then you have the vendor management, or the third party data vendor data management, wherein there will be vendors who are maintaining your customers' data as well. So the way they process the customers' data, that will basically be incorporated or fetched into our system. And from here, you will be able to see the vendor data management, what they are doing, how they are doing that. Then you have the data principles option, or the menu option, wherein you can basically fetch the data principles from multiple sources. This is a part of the data mapping and data resolution, wherein regardless of which system it is, it could be a structured system like an HR system or CRM tool, or it could be PII data, which is unstructured. We can fetch data from either of these sources and map it to the correct data principle. And data mapping, like I said, is a part of the same, wherein you can create data maps for the organizational view to learn which data is coming from. Then you have source systems. This is where you will actually configure your target systems, or your source of truth systems, from where you would be fetching all the data and basically mapping it to the right data principle. Then you have the data unification dashboard to learn the processes that have been taking place within the data unification point, which is again the data mapping and data resolution. You can see the review queue basically when, like I said, the PII data can also be resolved. For that, we have something called a fuzzy logic, which based on certain rules that you yourself would be creating, or the organization would be creating. Based on that particular rule, the data mapping would happen. So that rule or that mapping can also be, can go through a review before it is actually mapped to a data principle. So these are the resolution rules that I was talking about. You can create any number of rules that you want. There's no limitation to that. It is basically like a combination, in the sense that if the email ID is this and the phone number is this, then the data principle is XYZ. So that is how it is. You can monitor the consent propagation aspect. Consent propagation is again in three forms in our application. One is a push method, the other is a pull, and then it's an enforcement method. So push is wherein we would be invoking the downstream systems APIs to basically push the consent information that has been gained in our system. And pull is wherein the target systems or the organization would be using our APIs to fetch the data from our system and replicate the same in the downstream systems in case there are no APIs. And enforcement is the hardest part of all, which basically involves an SDK, wherein we would actually be enforcing the usage and their limitations. In the sense that if any user has withdrawn a consent for a certain thing, then our SDK will ensure that this particular withdrawal is enforced onto the target systems as well.
Just a quick time check for all of you. I know we have booked this for 45 minutes, but if you are okay, we would like to, and we have a very huge participation in this webinar. We would like to extend this time by 5 more minutes because, as I said, we have a very important announcement to make here. Go ahead.
Yeah. Then you have propagation webhooks, which basically is a part of your downstream system propagation, wherein you can create webhooks by integrating your APIs and have the data or the consent propagated. Then you have cookie banner, which basically is for cookies management on websites. You can choose the template, or you can choose the message that should be seen. And the same the data principals can provide their consent for this as well. It is not just limited to purpose and things. We also have the the cookie consent management. Then you have general settings where you can change your tenants, the way it looks, the name, and the authentication methods, how it should get authenticated, who should be notified, and API keys. And you have the very detailed reports which you can download in CSV, PDF, and Excel format of all the reports, basically all the ones that are important, like consent, breach, vendor DPIA, audit trails, and more. Here you can see all the internal users. You can onboard them from any source systems or through a CSV file, or you can add them manually. These are your typical users like DPOs, legal administrators, IT admins, and your privacy managers and more. And the application also has a training module within it, wherein the organization can learn about the application from within the application. Now, moving on to the data principal portal, the portal login, every data principal will be logging in using their email ID, and they will be receiving an OTP using which they will be able to log in. So they do not have to remember any passwords. As soon as they log in, they will be seeing this My Consent page, wherein they can see all the consents that they have provided. And any consent they want to withdraw, it is only a toggle button away. Just in disabling that toggle button would mean withdrawing the consent. And as per DPDPA's mandate, when the data principal is choosing to withdraw a consent, a message talking about the repercussions must be explicitly shown. So that also is available. Then this is the DPR request, basically the data subject rights, wherein they can request for any data erasure, updation, and things. After this, the admin or the DPO will be receiving the request and they would be assigning it to the right person. And this is where the data principals will be able to acknowledge the notices that they receive. Then you have cookie settings, wherein the data principals can basically provide the consent for the cookies that we had set up earlier. Right. So,
Well,
I, yeah.
thank you so much, Ashok. Can we bring back the other slides, please? So we showed you in two different ways. We showed you the features first, and then we showed you the how the screens look like and what they really mean. Uh, as I said, it'll be difficult to do a full demonstration of the tool, but we can always do that later. Uh, talking about as a partner, if you work with us, then there are certain things that become available to you. We will be sending post this the partnership registration. If you're interested, if you think this makes sense, then you could register as a partner of ours, wherein you'll have a support tier core revenue. So this is a SaaS tool, and there is a certain support revenue that is there on a year-to-year basis, and you will be co-sharing that with us. You'll also get a full tenant of the product for learning purposes as a partner. You will get huge amount of training material, including the real trainings, because these are self-paced trainings. Of course, we will be able to answer your queries if you have any after the self-paced training, but very well-designed self-paced trainings are available, which you'll also have access to as our partner. Next. There is a very important announcement at this stage for all of you and for the customers. We are celebrating our 25th year of 25 years of IAM leadership in the world, and that we thought there'll be no more appropriate way but to give a gift to our customers. And the gift is that for those customers who purchase the tool by in Q2, and Q2 basically means the April, May, June quarter, for tools that are purchased or signed by till 30th of June, the license is going to be free forever. This is our gift to customers in India. Uh, we'll show you the price and what we are going to forego because of this. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the normal pricing of the tool. The starter with very basic modules is at 25 lakhs. The professional version, which is for growing practices and mid-sized enterprises, is 50 lakhs, and the enterprise license is 75 lakhs. Uh, this is the tools cost on the annual subscription charge. But for customers who book the tool, who sign up for the tool, till 30th of June, this whole thing becomes a zero. The only cost is the is for the hosting and the product support, which includes all the new versions and any queries that they have on the product, they can ask. We have a support desk. For that, there is a support price, which is in the next slide. So for MSMEs, this is 12.5 lakhs per year, which includes, as I said, full hosting costs. We host on AWS, by the way, which has got it is fully all the backups, everything are available. So that is for MSMEs is 12.5 lakhs, and for large enterprise installations is 22.5 lakhs. And in case you are the consultant for a particular customer, and on behalf of the customer, you're collecting from the customer and paying to us, and there is a co-sharing that is available, which can be provided once you sign up. So I think that was we are not left with any time for question answers, but will absolutely be delighted to receive questions from you. And you have do we have here where they are supposed to write? We will send to you the where you can send your questions, and immediately after this, we will be sending to you the registration offer from our side for you to become our partner if you're interested. And please sign up and send it, and we'll get in touch with you. So, well, that brings us to the end of this conversation and webinar. We are quite overwhelmed by the response we are getting from the webinars, and we really, by making the offer of a free tool for such a comprehensive tool for this quarter, we believe that we will be making our contribution to the DPDPA regulatory compliance and also the Indian corporate enterprises. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your being here in this. We'll see you again, hopefully, in our next conversations. And hopefully, we'll sign you up as a partner. Thank you so much.